So, welcome to our wrong game session. There we go, right game session. Session number 68 of our Pathfinder 2 game, which is also episode 11 of season 4 if you want to keep track that way too. So, tonight we have online Jeremy.
Yes, good evening all. I'm playing Corda, the human, but possibly now slightly re-elvenized warrior of Sandpoint. Currently, having very recently gone through a significant life crisis of having half his literal self being blasted away so that his elven heritage was no longer recognisable within his body, but thanks to liberal application of moonlight, the ears are at least starting to get a little sharper again. Hopefully it continues. But otherwise, he's happy to protect the party wherever it may go, and accept the idea that we need to head back down to Roderic's Cove, which for him he's never been there before, so he's happy to find out what we're expecting there and what's going to be going on.
Yeah, go control over there, somewhere. But if you find it.
So, also online today we have M.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I didn't realize we weren't on mute. I am Drizzle. I am the boss orc of the party. I have my puppy and my giant, which are two doggies. And I also have, I was pretty close with my guesstimate today, 315 days to live. I think I said 310 in the chat.
we can knock off 5 if you like.
No thank you, I'm good. I would like those extra 5 days to live. They might save my life.
No, you can have 310 days to live and then 5 days to prepare to die.
Yeah. No, 5 days to turn into the Demon Lord bitch.
See, not only do you have to find it, you have to convince it to duel you.
Well, I think he has 315 days to torment me, which I think he already has done so at one point in the last of the previous session.
Let's face it, he's got 315 days to prove himself a true warrior. Even Corda, as half a man, will show him the way.
Thanks, Corda. I feel so much better than that.
Yeah, so I'll update M Sing on here as well.
Wait, what? I'm doomed. I'm not doomed. Oh my god, actually I'm really doomed.
Well, Jeremy got updated.
Oh, did he?
Corda, the
human elven spider. Cuddles?
On my character sheet now, I've updated his race as being bracket half human.
which brings us to the next person, Josh.
Hello, I'm Josh. I play Harry Potter. The Potter's wizard known to bad. So Harry is a wizard. He is half elf, which almost got and half dwarf. Loves to be the frontline fighter of the party as much as he shouldn't be the frontline fighter of the party.
So there you go, Josh. I just updated it, so it's Parry, Buffest, Elven, Half Dwarf Wizard.
Yeah.
And then that brings us to Mark.
Hi, I'm playing Sparky, the lovable dwarf rogue, who is not nearly dead. I'll have to put it out there. But I'll let you update that later, Martin. So, yeah, I'm just enjoying the fun and games and trying not to do stupid stuff.
Mark, don't offer Martin challenges like that.
I'm sorry.
He might say, "Oh, you're right. You're not nearly dead. Not anymore."
I love. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see a love story kicking in somewhere. Okay, gotcha.
There you go,
Mark.
Mark. The Sparky, the lovable dwarf rogue.
Yeah, I like that one.
Because if you're not nearly dead, you could be all dead. Would that be better?
Yeah, it's possible. Sorry, no, I didn't. That wasn't too DM at all. Just put it out there. Back to you, Barn.
That's okay. Who remembers what happened last session? So we also I also missed Peter, who's online as well. I'm sorry, Peter. Can we hear you, Peter?
I'm not sure we've actually heard Peter yet tonight, have we?
Hey Peter, we haven't heard your audio. You might need to check it. Well, hopefully he'll get back to us in a moment.
Yep.
And he will introduce his wonderful Willie, the monk.
Hopefully he's trying to restart his Skype or something.
Hello, Peter.
It's a different splash page for me.
The fun of using internet connectivity. Still can't hear you on this end, Peter. Assuming you're talking on your end. Okay, so I believe Peter will be getting his audio working and let us know when we can actually hear him. So we will introduce him when he actually gets audio back up online. But again, while he's doing that, can someone else give us a recap of what happened last session?
Well, Cordar spent significant time on the upper roof of the what's the name of the tavern that we're in?
Goblin.
Gold Goblin, yes. Which obviously for Cordar is also the idea of getting away from such a foul name, except unless it's Gold Goblin because it's a goblin that's been encased in gold and therefore completely killed. That would probably be the appropriate term. But yes, after we managed to clear a caverns that have been found underneath the underground arena from the Gold Goblin, including the discovery of a drow apparently that had been apparently stolen some bits from Saul, although we also found ledgers indicating that there'd obviously been something working between them or something. Well, at least Saul apparently was more aware of it possibly than the rest of us. But yes, after we managed to clear a caverns that had been he claimed he was. So we got back up to talk about that with Saul. But as I said, for Cordar, he was going through a significant life crisis at that moment in time, and then got informed that there was apparently a cure for his lack of elvenness by receiving moonlight. So he spent his time up on the ceiling. In which, while he was there, he saw was there a bright flash of light, I think?
There was.
Yeah. Don't know that he bothered telling anyone about it because he had other things on his mind still at the time. So, but yes, a bright flash of light. Oh, that's right, yes, because there was a bright flash of light in the sky when in fact a meteorite flashed across the top and it was almost possibly going to hit Runelords, but missed it and apparently went off further out into the harbour somewhere.
Actually, I think it wasn't the meteor, it was the lighting up of a rune on the rune gate.
Oh, was it?
It was.
Man, I must remember it from the previous campaign.
You are?
Okay, yeah, so lighting up the rune gate. That's right. Which we also found the piece of down the bottom. So, but yeah, I can't think what else the rest of the party got up to. Balath was one that managed to discover the cure for Gorda. But yes, I can't remember what the rest of the party got up to. As I said, Gorda wasn't paying attention to what they were doing.
I opened a lockbox, got some unusual coins.
Oh yes, one of the boxes that was found underneath.
Yep, I think I gave most of it to Harry, from memory. And then...
well, it was Harry when he claimed the lockbox, hadn't he? He had opened for him, yes.
What else?
And he generously gave you, what, one coin out of the pile of them?
I got 6 platinum coins. I recorded that. I got a big star next to it. Do not sell for services. No. And I think that was about it, I think, from memory. I think then we had a bit of a rest, and then we were just going to decide in the morning after you had your first night of moonlight, I think. So.
Well, I think we're actually already decided we had to get down to Roderic Cove. Apparently, those who have been here before, i.e. Dooza and Harry and Willie, who were the ones that have actually come up to Runelords previously, before our parties combined. They said they still had some unfinished business in Roderic Cove.
And I think we also had to hand back the ledger, or did we do that already?
Yeah, we got back the ledger to the call, I thought.
You did?
Okay.
Because that was the whole purpose of going down into the cabin, because Saul said the stuff had been stolen.
So there's a picture there of the ring going over the harbour itself.
Yep.
So that gives you some idea of what it looks like.
And look! You can see Cordar just hanging off that ceiling over there.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
And this is where you're heading to, if I can get the map to actually shrink down a little bit. Not that small.
Well, certainly the Roderic Cove's about a day's travel away.
It's about a day's travel away by boat.
Certainly while we're travelling, Cordar will be displaying more interest in exactly where we're going, what we're doing, and that he has the last 24 hours, and is interested to know from the others as to what do they know about Roderic Cove, what do they expect to find there, why are we going?
Martin, it would be good for me just to think about this. We'll be back in like, I'll be back in like 10, Jock will be back in like 15 or 20.
Yep. Which really helps considering we have the GM will fill you in on the details for you.
probably would have already told you guys kind of what's up, and Martin can GM the rest of it.
So you were heading to Roderic's Cove because they had a ghost to put to rest, morose elf to help. So if you're not really sure what a morose elf is, you'll be glad.
It's the other half of Quarter.
And the three groups of troublemakers. One has stylized itself after the Runelords of Wrath. One has stylized itself after the Runelord of Pride, and one has stylized themselves after Robin Hood.
And when you said this was 3 groups of troublemakers?
Yep, 3 groups of troublemakers. So the I'll actually get you the actual names of them because I had the book just here handy.
For your awareness, Martin,
yeah.
Your main camera is frozen.
Yeah, that's always fun. So I will go in there and fix that one because that hasn't happened for quite a while. And it's even allowing me to change it. Yay. So OBS is having a few problems at the moment.
Oh well. Can you... that would make a difference. So.
Okay, will it actually show me my camera? So for some reason the camera's gone completely offline, which is always fun. So I have to try unplugging it and replugging it in without breaking things. Not sure if you're getting the computer noises of it having fun in the background. Let's see, where is that plug? Oh look, I've now got it back again.
Hey!
So that required me to unplug the camera, then unplug the cord from the back of the computer, and only then did it actually say I actually have a camera to then add back into the dock. And yay for technology. We haven't got a Peter back, I am assuming. Just checking in to see he's doing it now. So I suggested he reset his computer.
Right.
Just making sure he can get back in again.
Yep.
The fun of balancing everything. Okay, so don't need to worry about the other cameras. If they had frozen, I would not have noticed.
Well, all the subjects of those cameras are staying very still.
Yeah.
Hello. I'm back.
Hello, back again. So okay, you didn't end up missing much. You ended up missing the GM fixing camera problems.
Oh. Yeah, I noticed it was frozen, but I didn't get a chance to say anything.
So good. Jeremy got in and I went, oh crap.
Take 12?
Hey Peter, what are you?
Fuck. Sorry guys, sorry.
Don't apologise, considering we've just had camera freezes and other things happening at the same time. Actually getting you is fantastic, so please introduce yourself, Peter.
Hello, I'm Peter. I'm playing the amazing Willy Won Kenobi. Unfortunately, I seem to own a bag of shit computer system.
I'm kind of hoping that Dooz's death day doesn't have any kind of impact on me moving into the future, considering we have an agreement that was backed up by some kind of legal mojo, shall we say.
There's a lot of agreements backed up.
So if he's going to go, he needs to go all by himself.
All that fun in games until someone loses their contract.
That's it.
Okay, so do you remember what was happening in Roderic's Cove last time you were there?
Basically, I picked up a pelt, and I think Josh had a chest that he wasn't prepared to give up, and I had some funky shit going on with my arm because of the pelt. Other than that, I wasn't. Yeah, not really. Other than that, that was about where I cut off.
I'm detecting a theme with Parry and Chess.
Well, he's the Lord of Greed at the moment.
He has taken on the Shard of Greed, so I'm sure nothing will go wrong with that.
In fact, actually, that was something that happened. In fact, maybe that's why Bella has had a significant change of heart. Was that while we were down in the caverns, and he was playing with the rune arch, whatever it's called. He actually had the shard expelled, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Again, not something Cord I'd noticed at the time, and probably hasn't necessarily realised yet, but it's certainly a significant event.
It is, and now you've boxed it.
Yes.
Which also means
So,
that if someone else puts it in their arm, they will know exactly which direction Parry is.
And what more could they possibly wish for?
I know, right?
So what he's saying is that Parry should put it in his arm,
Yeah, that way he knows where he is at all times.
because that's what he wants to know most.
Yeah. So what ended up happening with the chest and or the white wolf pelt, if anything?
They opened the chest.
Sorry?
They opened the chest. And I believe you kept the wolf pelt.
But yes, Cordar's certainly interested to know exactly why we need to go to Roderick's Cove, what we expect to find there, who the players are, get the quick background on what the other character members can tell him about Roderick's Cove.
Well, we half-fixed the ghost problem. And basically he was like, kill all these people, or at least get them out of Roderick's Cove. And I shall basically rest in peace.
Well, it wouldn't be the first unfortunate undead that we've helped to settle.
So you have a contact there of Uldrani, the morose elf, which Peter remembers fondly. And Duza tried dating.
I'm not sure if that was by choice.
And the three groups you were asked to deal with were the Hornfangs, who are based around the Runelord of Wrath. The Order of Resplendence, who's based around the Runelord of Greed, Pride, actually, and the Road Keepers, who are their own version of Robin Hood, though they consider themselves the most poor of the region.
So they're robbing from the rich and giving to the poor,
As long as they're the poorest, is that the idea?
Well, they are currently the poorest because they've been stuck away from everything. So they encountered the founder's homestead, which is haunted, where they had actually met with him himself with a nice ghostly apparition.
Yeah, he almost drowned. I think it was Stefan's character.
What was the name of the morose elf again? The ghost?
The morose elf is not a ghost. The ghost is
sorry, he was
Roderic.
the guy, that's right.
Yeah. The morose elf, she is named Aldani.
Aldani.
And she's also the gravedigger and the first and current gravedigger of the town, and it's been there for a few hundred years. So she's buried everyone.
Oh yes, okay. She's a full elf, so she's had plenty of. She's been around a while.
There's not one person she's grown up with who's still alive today.
No wonder she's sad.
And you met Lullaby Van Kaskakin in the Roadkeepers.
Them Kaska kids really get around.
There's one in each book, I believe. And she helped you get to the Roadkeepers. Apparently she had word that you were coming. Where you met a Pathfinder working with them, even though he didn't say he was a Pathfinder. He basically showed he had a Wayfinder that worked. And whose name was Dollard Regilor, who helped you get the cursed braces that Duzar now wears out of the vault.
That is very true. He did help you that.
And as they're an artifact, I'll find it very unlikely your remove curse will ever get them off.
Well, hey, let's face it. You've only got to wear it for another 315 days.
Yeah.
And so you know where the cave system you can find the Roadkeepers are.
Yep.
You know where the Resplendent Order who follow Pride have set up house. And you know, because they're set up in what's called the Peacock Manor.
And then the other guys are in the sewers, I think.
The other guys are underneath the inn.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
They're the Horn Gang?
Yeah.
The Horn Gang, yes.
Yep.
And you're told that once you settle all three, you'll have given rest to Sir Roderic.
Sir Roderic's the ghost?
It is the ghost,
He
yes.
is the ghost.
Okay. And so, when you're talking about dealing with the three, is that like the idea that Roderic's concerned that there's discord within his town?
Well, the three groups are considered plagues of the town.
Oh, okay, so the influence is to be removed.
Yeah, so that's why I said murdered and or chased out of town.
Okay.
Though not necessarily murder all of them, you may be able to get some of them on your side.
Certainly, yeah. Corda is the idea of, yes, remove their influence, or at least their negative influences.
That's very cool.
Dukla might be saying, yes, that needs murder all of them, but...
Well, I mean, he's not very diplomatic, and he has a pocket... Oh, that's right, I forgot to mention in the intro, I have Pocket God basically telling me how disappointed he is in me.
Well, that's why you've got 3 days to live, isn't it?
Well, yeah, pretty much. It's like every morning it's like, you have 315 days to live, and I'm disappointed in you. Go find something.
And you haven't honored me in the last so many hours.
10-day warning.
Yeah.
Look on the bright side. He could give you hourly warnings.
Good.
Except you probably can't count that high. Because we are talking Gorham after all, aren't we?
We are talking Gorham, they got a battle.
Yep.
Yes, we are talking Gorham. No, not Gorham. and I have subsequently got myself into shit.
Yeah, no wonder you disappointed Gorham.
Yeah.
So yes, you managed to get boat to Roderic's Cove without any problems.
Oh, okay, so it's a boat trip rather than a walk or horse ride?
It is because if I bring up the big map there,
I can well imagine the fact that, hey, we're in Middleport, we should have lots of boats available.
it has lots of boats. The problem with horses is horses are very fleshy.
Yep.
And they have this meat problem.
So horses are not particularly common in Middleport, or at least not common for riding.
The only people who still have them are the Hell Knights.
Fair enough.
I'm pretty sure if you kill a Hell Knight horse,
Well, to be fair, to try and kill a Hell Knight horse, you're probably going to go through the Hell Knight, and therefore you'll only do it once, because then the rest of the Hell Knights will be on you.
Well, each horseman is at least 10th level.
Yeah. And if the horses are anything like other characters' horse that's gone out of my head.
Regent.
Yeah, the character, the NPCs are 10th level, and the horses are much more dangerous.
They can be quite devastating.
Yes. Okay, so we took ship to Roderick's Cove. Makes sense.
Okay, so it takes you a day to get there. You arrive with Doomsday going 214 days left to live.
Sorry, what?
214. That was a long boat ride, wasn't it?
Oh, sorry, 314. My mistake.
What? How did I suddenly lose 100 days?
That's because my finger mistyped.
No. Can't trust Gorham's typing.
Oh, God.
Always counting.
Apparently.
He might have said that he's got 314, but tomorrow you'll get 624, and the day after you've got 2.
I'm sure he can count down from 10.
What, by cutting off fingers?
Well, he's got the fingers to count.
Okay, so he cut them off so he doesn't lose track.
So you arrive in at Roderic's Cove. It's a small fishing village, and you can see on the edge of the village to the west is an encampment of Hell Knights.
Okay. Do we know whether or not they're can we see a banner from those Hell Knights? To whether or not they're the same ones that Bella has developed a connection with?
Well, when I bring that up, we'll be able to, because I've got a page with it all on there.
Marvelous.
Let's just see if I can actually find that page. I'm sure it's not too hard to find. Let's see.
And it also occurs to me when I asked the question about the idea of the order that Bella has got connection to, that doesn't actually narrow it down too much. You've got a few connections with a few of the orders. Some of them positive, some of them negative.
Okay, so Order of the Glyph
Uh-huh.
have a one there, and Order of the Pyre also has one there.
Okay. And yes, I don't know. Is Cordar aware of? He's aware that Bellof has joined one of the orders. I'm pretty certain.
He hasn't actually taken on full hasn't fully signed up with them. He is starting down that path.
Okay, right.
Twitch player.
Genuine measures.
Oh.
Yes, YouTube channels.
So, while on the boat ride, and the others are explaining to Cordar, Bellof, and Sparky about Roderick's Cove, do they also tell us what their preferred plan of action is when we arrive?
Well, I know the Horned Fang guys were not very receptive to us.
They kicked your butt last time. They kicked your butt last time.
Yeah. We were, I think Josh and I missed that session. And I think that, no, we managed to sneak into that place, find what we needed, and escape without encountering anyone from the Resplendent side.
You got to the gate and got the heebie-jeebies from the spirit and left.
Yeah.
You never actually got into the Resplendent people. You got into the road keepers and right into the road keepers' place.
That's
You got to the
right.
gate of the Resplendent people, and you got to the sparring area of the horned whatever their names are.
Horn Fan?
Yep.
Dang.
Yeah. And I think the day that the party went to do the Horn Fang, there was like 2 people online or on the table that day. So it did not end well.
Funny that.
Well, I think you had 4 versus 4, and they worked quite well together.
Unlike most parties we've been involved in.
And you also had you were able to describe Sith spawn, which you found out some more details from back at Magnamore.
Uh-huh.
And they are working with Sith spawn.
They're working with Sin Spawn?
Sin spawn, yes.
Has Cordar and Co come across Sin Spawn yet?
Technically, yes, but you thought they were vampires.
I was about to say, I'm thinking that the in the rocks at Ossery, wasn't it? The God's Mouth Ossery.
And a couple of other places.
Right. But yes, our resident undead expert reliably informed us they are vampires. Yes. Along with
I'm guessing that was Bellof.
No, that was
Victor's previous character.
And when I say reliably informed, I definitely use inverted commas on that, because as far as Kagashiro was concerned, anything was a vampire.
So the GM started describing everything so they could be interpreted as vampire from that point onwards. So yes, you arrive seeing the encampment on the side of Roderic's Cove, but they don't seem to have had much of an impact on the town at this stage.
Okay. So, what do the others want to achieve here, and in what order they want to attempt it? We won't talk about what you want to achieve, but yeah, who do you want to try and see first? Do we try to see the what do they call them? The road keepers, who you already had reasonable contact with, and therefore might provide a good update on what was happening, or you try to get in to see Aldani as your main contact, or whichever Van Castigan we've got up to at this stage. Or of course, do you want to go dive straight into Horn Fangs or Resplendent Order?
I say we say hi to our morose elf friend because she has been kind to us, and she will probably enjoy, even though she won't show it. We may or may not get a half smirk out of her if we go say hi.
Well, when you tell her the story about how Cordar's lost his elfness.
Yeah. Oh, and that I only have 314 days thanks to my little pocket demon, which Martin needs to update the thing. He's like, let me just do that.
There you go.
Ta-da. Hey, at least I know when we go dungeon diving, we know we can pass days with accuracy.
Yes. Yeah. Who's carrying away a calendar?
Yeah, pretty much. A 314 day calendar.
Just be careful you don't go through the wrong dimension, otherwise you might come out and go, you have negative 233 days.
Yeah, well, shit.
So yes, you arrive at the dock, you are greeted by the locals. Where would you like to go?
We will go say hi to,
Morose elf from the tavern?
yeah.
Where she always hides?
Usually, either that or she's in the graveyard.
Burying another body.
Mm-hmm.
So they take you to the uniquely named Creekside Tavern and Inn.
I'm sure there's none other like it anywhere.
The fact that it's built right over the next to the creek has no impact whatsoever on it. So
Okay, yep.
and the circular area there is the town centre.
What kind of vibe do we get walking through to get to the Riverside Tavern Inn?
Everyone seems to be jumpy. They look as if they haven't really slept well.
Okay. How long has it been since you guys were last here?
At least a level.
Okay, so we're talking at least 6 months or so.
Probably closer to 3.
Okay, yep.
Okay, coming into the Creekside Tavern and Inn. It's a 2-story building with the word Creekside actually visible and Tavern and Inn very faded.
Mm-hmm.
And you're welcomed by Garlina, the hostess.
Yep.
Welcomes new visitors and says, first drinks on the house.
Do we recognize her? Or just she forgotten about us?
You recognize her, you just never really paid much attention to her. You're too busy looking at everyone else.
Sparky will yell out, go, here.
No, I was listening to the morose elf's sad stories.
And she says to Duzel, would you like your usual, sir?
Yes, please.
You remember that tone, you just don't remember the face.
Right.
Or the name.
Yes, please.
Okay. You take a seat. She brings drinks for everyone. Does Willie have a preferred beverage?
Beer.
As Willie's currently on mute. He's on mute. Whiskey. Okay, so she gives you a whiskey. She says to Dooza, Parry, and Willie that will be 2 gold for their drinks, whereas the other guys are getting it on the house.
2 gold for beer.
Well, for 3.
For 3 drinks.
Oh, for 3 drinks, right? Yeah.
Much better.
That's better. I thought she did it for 1. I was like, wow, the prices have jacked up since we were here last.
Well, considering most of the price of the drink is in the small thimble of whiskey, it costs more than the rest of your meals combined.
Yeah.
And especially when you consider that in the current world system, most things are costed in silver, not gold. So.
Yeah. No. I have.
Isn't it more likely copper?
No. Okay. Well, yeah, no. Drinks and food would normally be copper, but I'm talking about the fact that the like Pathfinder 2, the silver piece is the base unit of currency instead of the gold piece.
Which makes copper so much more useful.
That's right. So the idea that it's 3 gold is bloody expensive, but hey, you guys have been here before and you know what you're expecting, obviously.
So Willie tries the whiskey. It is some of the best whiskey he's had. Reminds him of his wedding night.
Really? Oh, I was expecting nothing but swill, so I'm pleasantly surprised.
I think the Hellmites that are camping outside of town might have something to do with that.
You do see the label on the bottle. It is the same whiskey you had on your wedding night.
Drinking the pain away.
Just a single shot is more than enough to keep most people going for a night.
Didn't we have like 10? Yeah.
And at 2 gold a shot. Not a cheap drink.
Well, considering I think his wife was bankrolling the bloody wedding.
Hey, speaking of my wife, did I manage to get the Winter Wolf pelt to her?
You did. You sent it off.
That's a sense of accomplishment.
You sure she'll be pleasantly surprised when she receives it?
As long as her arm doesn't go funky like mine did, I'm happy with that. Okay,
so as you're sitting down, you have a elf approach the table. I've got the updated picture of her.
We have an updated picture of herself?
That's the full body picture.
Ooh, cool.
She looks even sadder in that picture than she does the headshot.
That's the morose elf, is it?
That is the morose elf. Alderani.
Okay.
So she's actually been here longer than Roderic's Cove has existed. She says, back again. Have you solved the issues? Last I spoke to you, you're going to deal with the horned fangs.
Yes, that didn't end up going too well. But we have brought friends, and I point towards the new members, in quotation marks, new members of the party, and introduce them to our herself friend.
Sparky will, hi, and offer my hand out to the elf.
She looks at your hand, doesn't have an expression on her face, doesn't seem to know what to do with your hand.
Oh, hi, my name's Sparky, sorry. Pleasure to meet you.
She sort of looks a little like she's processing your name and wondering, what it means from a dwarven perspective of being called Sparky.
Oh, it's a deep nickname, sorry. It's I do have a full dwarf name, but people just call me Sparky. Makes it easier.
Does that mean no dwarf wants to dig with you?
No, I do have a good dwarven family back at Rockholm.
Because Sparky is a slang term amongst dwarves for someone they don't want to dig with. Because if you set off sparks, you'll blow up their dig site.
I don't think it was meant in that thing, but I can understand your point of view here. This one. As
she continues on for about 10 minutes, giving you the etymology of Sparky.
I sit back in the corner, kind of crouching, going, "Wow, nice first meeting." I'm thinking to myself, "Yeah."
Whereas Corda basically gives a somewhat curt greetings, particularly for Corda, as he's obviously trying to look at her without actually looking at her and looking away, and yes, seemingly feeling confused about the idea of and looking what is lost but might need that to regain.
Well, she does have longer ears than you ever had.
Yes. Look, he's used to actually knowing elves, but I'm working on the idea that she's probably one of the first that she's seen in the last 48 hours. And yes, he's just still feeling conflicted and uncertain about what's actually going on for him at the present time. So
she seems to look you up and down and dismiss you right afterwards.
So yeah, does she actually join the others at the table or things like that, or?
Well, she's sort of still standing there. She doesn't seem to. She seems to be sucking a lot of the energy out of the table.
I'm still working on the idea that who is the main person that she's communicating with, or not communicating with. Dukla gave the opportunity, the introductions to the other members, as obviously she was saying, hey, last time you were going to take on the Horn Fangs, and Dukla suggested that, oh yes, well, we've got friends now that might be able to, implying we might be able to do the job.
We will actually help this time. It's been, it's been like 6 months since we were here.
She's
about 3 months.
Sorry?
About 3 months.
Oh, 3 months. Yeah.
She shrugs, going, well, I guess you better get to it because, well, the Hell Knights might come back soon and deal with it. They've been off to the north dealing with some demonic bug infestation.
Oh, fun. Is that what they're doing here?
Well, it seems someone turned a town into demon bugs.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Why are you apologizing?
Don't know who that would have been.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Who would that been?
Don't know what you're talking about.
Well, when you've got giant demonic mosquitoes, manifestations of a insect god who wants to suck the life out of the world, I believe that's what the Hell Knights are best at facing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we actually called the Hell Knights for that one too. Because we were like, yeah, we kind of may not wipe the town off of the map, and oh yeah, there's bugs.
Well, they did say some inept adventurers had come through telling them about their mistakes.
Well, I mean, technically, the town being wiped off the map wasn't our fault. That was Quest's fault.
So it's the fault of someone not here to defend themselves?
The Quest is, well, you know Quest. What he's like.
Quest is Quest.
Quest is Quest. You know, we can't help him. He's a lost cause.
So we should inform the Hell Knights it's all his fault?
No. Just keep that on the download.
Are you sure? Because hey, it would mean less of an issue for you if he's such a hassle.
No, we quite like him, despite some minor flaws.
Nothing a little bit of Hell Knight intervention can't fix, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. But we quite like our friend.
So, why? What can I help you with while you're here? What do you need from me now that you're back in Roderic Cove?
Well, has there been any changes in the last 3 months?
Well, we did have some of the insect wasps come near town and the Hell Knights chase them off, which is why they decided to do their dash out into the surrounding area to clear out the wasps before they breed and make more.
Yeah, okay, cool. Apart from that, the nuisances of town are still all here, question mark.
I don't believe anyone's died recently. I've not had to bury anyone. It's nice having a job that you only have to do every now and then.
Yes.
And what job is that, my lady?
I bury the dead. Is there anything you want me to say at your funeral? She says, looking at you directly.
There aren't many things, but hopefully we'll not need to be worried about for a while. I'm still at least half here.
Well, that'd be a rather short speech then, so she'll be able to remember that one at least.
I guess it's good if the local undertaker is not busy.
She thought she'd have more work when the Hell Knights arrived, but not many people died.
Yeah, not all the Hell Knights are bad.
How big is the city that we've got our seen so far, or town, or the village, whatever it is?
I think it has about 1,000 people in it.
Okay.
So not a huge town,
Right.
but big enough to be noticeable. Does have a lot of interesting sites, which the others have told you about on the way in.
Yep.
So there's the Ladies' Chapel, which is dedicated to Pharasma. Pointers for Mark there. Just in case you'd like to go and have another chat to Pharasma with a different character.
Possibly after reading the instructions. No, I'll be okay.
There is the Peacock Manor, which is fenced up and locked up. There is the Blackberry Bakery, which is run by a halfling, which most of the other party members from here will tell you has the best breads, confections, jams, jellies, muffins, pastries, and blackberry brandy. There's the Lankmere's Mill, which basically does a lot of the grinding in the area.
Yep.
There's Brogan's apothecary, where another halfling here has plenty of herbs, balms, poultices, and other stuff. He has the best weed in town. There is Hudstein's kennel, where Duza has been talking up for quite a while because one of his puppies comes from here.
Yes, my giant comes from here, and I've been learning all about the doggy husbandry.
You've got the guard.
And this is very, very fascinating.
So you got a guardhouse where the female captain Juliet is more than happy to beat up anyone who tries to sweet talk her. She's not one for the sweet talking. Then there's the Creekside Tavern and Inn, which you're in. There's the Circle, where the market happens once a week with all the local produce.
Yep.
And occasionally has the old man named as Possum, who sells Possum Punch, the strongest alcohol that any of the party have ever found so far. You could probably peel paint with it by just pouring it over the paint. The governor works out of Cove Hall. She's called Lorenza, and she's been very helpful and has a fancy hat with a feather in the cap. Then there's Calstrop Meats, that actually has smoked meats from the ocean.
Okay.
As well as pork. Smoked pork.
Nice.
Which, considering how close it is to Riddleport, the other party members found that the meat here tasted funny because it wasn't leftovers.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a smithy, which is another halfling, who's very good at fixing and making most stuff out of metal. Doesn't have a lot of weaponry or armor on hand, but happy to make it if you give him time.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is Palson's Cuts, which is a beef and pork distributor. You can purchase it here, and a lot of it is purchased and taken to Riddleport by the Overlord and his men. You got the general store run by Varana. She is quite a happy person, and and was quite sad that the goblin lackeys had disappeared. And
can't imagine why she'd be sad at loss of goblins.
Because the goblins were the people who were doing all the chores in town. If you had a cleaning, lifting, moving, carrying, sorting job, you generally got a goblin to do it.
How clean could such unclean creatures actually make things?
Apparently quite clean when they were taught properly. And there used to be a site in Roderic's Cove. Everyone had their goblin servants. And you got the Temple of the Stars in the Road, which is a chapel of Desna, which Cordar's parent has told you about.
Yep.
She's stopped in here before and knows the half-elf Mia Solo, who you've met before, who serves as the priest.
Okay. Cordar may well be interested in trying to talk to this Mia Solo on the idea of family connection, but also discuss his loss of elvenness.
And then there's the Rampant
Or is
Reef.
attempts to regain it?
The Rampant Reef Claw, the best seafood restaurant in town. Also, the only seafood restaurant in town, but it's the best seafood restaurant in town. Then you've got the boatyard, where you can get boats repaired or built. They don't build many, but they're more than happy to repair. You've got the Cove Armory, who actually has weapons and armor on hand, with the female smith Lindwin. And then you got the docks. Outside of town is a ferry, who has a woman. The rest have told you don't belittle, because she actually broke your healer's leg. Kroll, who had been given her lip. There's a sawmill, and there is Roderic's townhouse upriver. Both of those are about a mile north of town. So that gives you an update of what to expect to see here.
Yep.
Besides the 3 gangs who have been not making a major presence since the Hell Knights have come into town, because the Hell Knights generally don't take law breaking well, unless it's a law they don't care about, in which case you can do it in front of them and they won't do anything.
Yeah.
Problem is they don't tell you what laws they are.
Yeah. But as far as putting Roderic's ghost to rest, the presence of the Hell Knights is not actually removing the influence of the 3 gangs, but merely just making it less obvious. Is that fair to say?
It's basically push them underground.
Yeah.
In one case, literally.
But the unrest that they cause still continues.
And Quest has a house here, which is being administered by a stoner. A very hippie guy who's looking after puppies and smoking throughout the house.
Okay.
It's not well phased.
I'm assuming it's early evening at this stage.
It is early evening as you arrive, and sitting in the tavern and having a relaxing time.
Okay. So, Cordar talking to the others then, whether or not Murray Self is still around, but I'll talk to the others and say, so do we gain rooms at this establishment, or are we staying elsewhere in town?
Is it Roderic's Cove that has the house we use?
It has Quest's
Yeah, why don't we
house,
stay
yes.
at Quest Place?
Yeah,
you said
first
first
place.
Everyone squeeze in.
I'm sure the stoner won't mind. Fuck that guy.
I'm pretty sure the stone would be dead by now.
No,
Well, that's
I
not
think he moved on when we did.
Okay, you show up to Quest's place and you find that there's less of a house than when you started.
Less house. How is that possible?
There's a pile of rubble where the house used to be.
Oh.
You can still see parts of walls. You can see where the basement entrance is, because the basement still seems to be intact.
Well, that's good, because that's where our pool is, pretty sure.
Your what is?
We have a, Quest has a... Oh, you into it?
There's a rune portal in the bottom of the house, which links back to wherever we've used our wayfinders to link to. So I've got one to my house.
Yeah.
This is one to here.
Okay, so So looking at the place, it's potentially good that we didn't try and travel through the rune port.
You may have gotten trapped.
Can someone misuse the rune portal?
Maybe.
Or maybe your house sitter did not necessarily look after the house well.
I don't know. Are there any neighbours that we can talk to?
You want to knock on a door?
Is there a backyard? Like, is this house on a property, or is it like a backyard? I think.
This is a townhouse attached to multiple properties.
Or it was a townhouse.
It was the end townhouse.
Oh, the end townhouse. Okay.
Because there was a whole bunch of rocks and stuff that may or may not have been volatile.
Oh yeah, those things.
Yeah.
But do not open this chest.
Yeah, do not open this chests. So, I don't know, maybe a kid or something opened the chest.
Stoner. Wouldn't say kid.
Or the stoner. Who knows? I thought the stoner moved on when we did, but I could be wrong.
No, you left him behind.
Oh, that's good.
He may have technically walked out of the house when you left, but then he walked straight back in again after you'd gone.
Yeah.
Well, you left him looking after your animals many a time.
Yeah, and then I promised I wouldn't leave my animals with him again after he got them stoned.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as you knock on the door, the house next door.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, you see a little boy that you remember talking to probably about 6 months ago, Kane. Cynae, but he calls himself Kane.
I remember.
He sees you and gives you a big hug because, well, it's been a while since he's seen you.
Hey, little buddy. What happened to our buddy Quest's house? It seems to be not quite a house no more.
Well, there was this guy smoking a lot in there. And then it's believed he fell asleep while smoking.
Did he burn the house down?
Technically, yes. But considering
the house burnt down, he was probably still inside.
Considering the roof had caved in already from what you guys had done previously, there wasn't much to burn down left after you guys left.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know that's fair enough.
On the bright side, either he wasn't there, or he was fully cremated in the process. Apparently there's no one's died since we've been here. You've been here.
Well, the Hell Knights took care of whatever was there because they put out the fire.
So no wonder she's morose. The limited work being taken off her.
Well, I guess we might have to rebuild poor Quest's house at this point, because where did our friend who smokes a lot go?
He doesn't know, but he may have gone back out into the forest looking for mushrooms.
Oh yeah, that's not gonna end well.
Well, by the sound of it, he may have gone out. So when did the house burn down?
It burned down about 2 months ago.
And has this occupant been seen since?
He's not been seen since, no. He wasn't particularly well liked.
Well, we did tell him to. Well, I think we told him to move on, but yeah. Obviously, we won't need to enforce that.
So are we heading back to the tavern, the Riverside Tavern Inn? Creekside, wasn't it? Creekside, not Riverside.
Riverside.
It was Riverside.
Well, I guess we'll head back to the inn, and I'll ask the innkeeper when we get there. Who we can get in the town, pay them obviously to rebuild, our house, or quest house.
Says, well, that's normally goblin work, but we haven't had goblins for a while.
Yes.
Though Colton, which does bring to mind as the stoner, also did some of it as well. Though his was never as good as the goblin work.
But he's the one who burnt the house down to begin with, I think.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
I'm assuming that the Riverside Inn is one of the taller buildings in the town?
It is.
Yeah. So, okay. Cordar wants to get if we're getting a room here, he'd like to get a room on the top floor.
Okay, they have no problems renting out a room to you. They do it at a silver a night.
Okay. And he'll be aiming to go up quite early this evening, and then climb out the window and up onto the roof.
Mm-hmm. And you find that the inn has the cleanest roof in the city.
Nice. So, what's the weather like tonight?
A bit cloudy, but you think the moon will be showing?
There should be some moonlight. Okay. If the moon is not yet up, then well, take it either way. Cordar will be aiming to get settled early, but then aiming to effectively rest properly once he's confirmed the moon is out.
Mm-hmm.
So
you have a nice restful night. What about everyone else?
I will eat some dinner, talk with patrons, catch up with what's been happening in the town. Maybe even talk with them myself for like 5 hours. Who knows?
No sleep.
Get no sleep.
whereas Cordar correctly on the idea, he doesn't really care too much about how much sleep you get, because it's obviously good that he got a lot, but it was more the idea of he's getting absolute maximum time while the moon is up.
Okay, so morning comes rather quickly, so I'm going to update the counter for M.
Not like anyone's keeping track though.
Yeah, it's not like you're keeping track at all.
You're screwed.
I think I need to continue updating my
So this is your goal. Your daily reminder saying you're screwed.
You fucked up.
You fucked up.
You have 313 days to fix it. Or die. Or no, we'll become the demon lord bitch.
And die.
And so all of you get up. Everyone smells the smell of brimstone in the hallway of the inn. And on Dooza's door appears to be a burnt horseshoe on the door.
Sorry, what?
There's a burnt horseshoe on your door.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
But importantly, is it upright or downward?
It is downward.
Ah, so all the luck's fallen out.
I'll be like, ha ha ha, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Good job.
Well, okay. From Cordar's perspective, obviously, he's not waking up to the smell of brimstone, unless it's actually more pervasive in the town.
Well, when you climb back inside and go out down to go downstairs in the morning is when you smell it.
Okay.
Didn't actually hear anything through the night, though.
No, certainly, yeah, correct. Did he feel, like I say, was there any mirror or anything like that in his room?
They do have a reflective surface, not a great mirror, but a reflective surface.
He will actually be taking a bit of a look at himself when he gets down back into his room again to see whether or not there's any evidence that his ears might be more pointed, or his nose a bit more refined.
That they all feel more pointed and refined to you. Whether they are or not, they feel that way.
That's right. He can quite happily listen to you do a belief that it's getting better, yes.
Hey, belief is the thing that keeps everything in motion.
That's right. We might well find out that Bella's cure is purely what's the word? It's going out of my head. And you give people sugar pills, but it's still
Placebo.
Placebo, yes. So, that's so. As long as it makes them feel better, that's a good thing.
And you also wake up to the smell of fresh jam pastries. As Willie has had a delivery.
Corda will be more concerned about the idea of someone burning a horseshoe print into Doozer's door, assuming that Doozer's up as Corda comes down and in. I'm assuming you did not do that?
No, I am presuming it's the Demon Lord playing yet more pranks on my what little time I have left in this little world.
So you don't believe it's related to, or directly related to your investigations here in Roderic's Cove? Is it worth not asking the innkeeper as to whether or not there was any evidence as to what happened?
Yes, I believe so.
No.
So in other words, the innkeeper is likely to charge you for the damage.
Go, Peter.
I just partake of the delicious pastries. Who delivered them?
It was delivered personally by the halfling woman Blackberry from Blackberry's Bakery.
Oh my love. Oh my love.
And there's a small bottle of blackberry brandy in there for you too.
So good.
You haven't had had many of those.
I'll offer the pastries around to the rest of the group, and eat whatever's left. And when I get a chance to, I'll drop the bag back and thank her profusely.
She's quite happy to help you out, considering the hero that you are. It's her term for you.
She's such a flatterer.
Well, you did save the town to the north from the bug infestation, and you brought the remaining town members safely here.
Well, yes, true. But anyway, I thank her regardless, and enjoy my pastry and the blackberry wine. Hopefully the rest of the group enjoys whatever pastries they feel are relevant first thing in the morning prior to breakfast.
Well, it's filling enough that most of them don't need breakfast.
And they're very, well, from memory, they're very sweet and very crumbly and yummy and fucking awesome.
She is a master baker. And while you're out and about, the apothecary, Mr. Brogan, another halfling, catches up with you and says, "Fine day, Mr. Lowblow."
I give him a big grin and a nod. I say, "Same back to you, my friend."
Managed to punch a few people in their junk recently?
Sadly, no.
Hopefully,
no.
hopefully you can find the right miscreants to do so. We could do with less miscreants around.
So I hear. I've also heard that the three, shall we call them gangs, in the town have been keeping their heads low with the Hell Knights patrolling, shall we say, I guess.
Well, I believe one of them tried to challenge the Hell Knights.
Oh, wow.
And well, I don't think he finished his challenge.
Nice.
I don't believe they like to have their authority questioned.
No. That's one of the cornerstones of the Hell Knight philosophy. Get them before they get you.
And I believe Aldani was also disappointed she didn't get to bury the remains because there were none.
Wow. That's a big call. Wow. Okay. Seems like the Hell Knights may have sent their A-team.
Well, whoever it was used some sort of magic that just completely eviscerated and ripped the person to shreds.
Yeah, that sounds like a Hell Knight move.
She didn't look like this, did she? And I described my wife.
No, but he describes one, and you remember having that one was the one that suggested you do certain things to your wife's brother.
Oh, that's like your cousin, isn't it?
No, the soon-to-be wife of my soon-to-be wife of my wife's brother.
Oh, future sister-in-law.
Yeah, my character laughs. Because she sure as hell beat the hell out of me. So yeah, I'll take that.
She sort of looked bored at the time.
Yeah, I got something similar when we were fighting.
But since that demonstration, there's been no question of their authority in town. Wasn't even a wet spot left.
Well, I thank him for the information and the graphic description.
He says this may help. He gives you a little pouch of leaves. He says if you want to forget about the graphicness of the description, have a few of these each night for about a week, and I'm sure it will ease the nightmares.
Actually, I'm pretty happy with the description. The more gory, the better. And I had them back because I've had very little luck with leaves. At one point, I gave some leaves to a person and he choked to death. So
did you wait? Yeah. Did you let him burn the leaves, or did you just put them down the throat?
Well, I assumed they were to be chewed, and he choked to death on them. So I just haven't had much luck with them.
In that case, next time, go for a single leaf, not for a bunch, because they do have to breathe.
Okay. Maybe I was using them incorrectly. User error.
Practice makes perfect, he says.
It does. Very true. Very true.
But as it was one of those horn freaks, then he thinks that you can practice as much as you like on them. Okay, so while you're having this good conversation with this little halfling, Doomsday has been caught up by Miss Husstein, who's checking in on Giant.
Ah, yes. Presumably Giant has grown, so presumably she is taking measurements for future reference.
She is, and you've seen Giant being extremely happy with her, as well as Puppy.
And well, if I have some spare time, I will spend.
Another day now with the elf.
No, this isn't with the elf. This is with the
Dog trainer.
The puppy breeder.
You normally call her Miss Hudstein because Svarsi is a lot harder to pronounce.
Yeah.
And a full-grown one of their dogs is bigger than a halfling. Okay, so besides that, what else would you like to do with your morning?
Well, if the others are not directly going to be looking to deal with either Hornfangs or the Resplendent Order or the Road Keepers, Corda would like to go and have a talk to the Church of Desna and meet up with this half-elf. But certainly, if the others have got plans as to where they're going, then he's happy to go that way too.
Okay, so while the others are doing their morning catch-up, you meet up with Miaso Celine, who greets you as brother. Not sure if he actually is a brother, but hey, half elves tend to stick together.
Yep.
Says, how are you doing?
Well, when he says brother, Corda obviously flinches a little bit, and he, yes. When Yaso possibly takes a better look at him, he'll realise that he's not looking quite himself, and yeah, he will then talk about the fact, obviously, so Corda is obviously knowing this Yaso a bit.
You're caught up with him many a time in travels with
I'm thinking Goda. But yes, okay, over the name, this has got out of my head, so.
out of mine at the moment too, and in one of the other books.
Yes, that's fine. And in fact, I think I just realised it's probably in his character sheet. But in that case, then yes, so he will quite happily unload some of his concerns and issues and worries from the last 48 hours.
He sits down and plays a melody on a harp to help relax you as you sit in the chapel of Desna.
Yeah.
Staring up at the sky through the open roof.
Yeah. Well, certainly yes. And during that conversation or during that discussion type stuff, when Corda's offloaded things, I'll be feeling a bit relieved at having had someone to talk to about it, and describing the apparent influence of the moon that's hopefully recovering his condition. He'll also then ask as to what else might they say, ask for any information about happening in town. He explained the fact that yes, he's here with some friends who have apparently been here before and got asked to investigate some disharmony within the town, particularly amongst three factions: the Hornfangs, the Road Keepers, and the Resplendent Order.
There's been a lot of disharmony in the town, he says. All started about a year ago. He says, putting his feet up. So Started with a battle between the different factions in the Circle Market. They actually drew weapons and killed members of each faction.
Okay, so they're definitely not getting along well, but were these factions, are these long-term organisations within the town, or are they recently, you said that the death happened a year or so ago, and they've had much influence prior to that?
Well, they've been around a while, but who knows from how long these humans actually do stuff for, he says.
Mm-hmm.
I don't pay as much a close attention as I should, but maybe a couple of years. Roadkeep is at least 5 years, maybe.
Yep.
He's sure the resplendent ones are less than that. He believes they're the shortest group, but hard to tell. They don't quite advertise themselves. And then Aldrani decided to get a group of adventurers together to help solve problems. There was a goblin, a half-orc, a gnome elf. Don't ask me how that works. A dwarf elf. Don't ask me how that works either. And what appears to be a muscly human called Junk something.
Every time he talks about the gnome elf, the dwarf elf, Cordar twitches slightly, thinking, please say hard elf. And Koya, that's what I want.
Koya was the name you were looking for.
And he just checked his Cordar's journal.
And so in looking into these things, they managed to talk to the authorities, Ladia Kalstrop and Kayan from Fromperton.
Mm-hmm.
And then since that point, the town has been suffering hauntings from the local Roderic. That the place is named after has been haunting the town quite regularly.
Is he, like, if the town is named after him, is he like one of the original residents, or?
He was the founder.
Right.
And friends with the Aldrani.
Ah.
And in the middle of these heroes saving the day, we've had to deal with these wretched creatures coming out of the sewers and underground and attacking people.
Oh. Are they still attacking? Is that something that a scout sword can put to rest?
Well, the Hell Knights have been dealing with them, so it's been less of a worry on the citizens. Though the Colton Harrismore Laverkin burnt down the goblin's house.
And he's someone who I heard about someone who might have fit that description, but he was someone who was staying at the house at the time.
He was sort of occupying it. I think squatting's the best term.
Yes. I believe that I've heard other stories about that particular incident.
Then
he's not been seen since the incident, as I understand.
No, he seems to have taken off. Though I did forget about the two dwarves that the heroes had rescued from the wilderness. So that would have been Gald Sabretha, Mogma, and Fordrin Kolsov.
Yep. Did they rescue them and have they decided to settle within Rodric's Cove, or?
Well, they did
moved on
rescue
to-
him, and they moved on. I believe they moved on to Riddleport.
Fair enough.
Partly because the third member of their group had died, but they had been kidnapped about a month beforehand by the goblins, who then disappeared not long after they were kidnapped and were left hanging in chains in a cave. Still haven't seen any goblins come back, but apparently a few goblins did avoid the call. Hence the one who lives in town.
Really can't imagine why anyone would want the goblins back.
They are useful, very crafty, able to work well with their hands, get into tight places, and if fed and looked after, they generally are quite happy disposition and are quite fierce and loyal creatures.
They cause nothing but trouble down at Sandpoint.
That's because they're not part of the town.
Exactly. I come back to the original point. We want them as part of a town. But
There was also a nasty creature known as Mr. Wretch. Most of the town didn't know about him, but he thought he would take out competitors in town, and he thought the Hell Knights were a competitor.
I suspect I know the end of that sequence then.
Well, he was taken in chains out to their boat and hasn't been seen since.
When he says that, I'm sorry to Cordell will have another memory of the fact that, yes, are these, the banners that we saw, are they ones that were also based at Magnamar?
The ones you see here were not in Magnamar. They had come from Magnamar.
Yeah, no, but that's what I mean, like, I'm not saying the individuals, I'm saying the order, like, because Cordell was certainly aware of Bella feeding the Kraken. And so there
They
are
not
mentions of the idea of whether or not there might be a Kraken out the front of Roderick's Cove.
There could well be. They've never actually said what they've done with him.
No, but what's the order? One of the two order banners that we saw when we came in. One of those was what was in Magnamar as well.
No.
Okay. No.
There are 20 different orders, and they've each taken 2 to a city.
Yeah. And so okay, in that case then, one would hope that not every order uses the Krakens.
I would hope not. Otherwise, there'd be a lot of Krakens.
Exactly.
But so that sort of brings you up to speed about what's been happening. A lot of people tell him stuff they won't tell anyone else. You're not really sure why, because he's not really a priest. He's more of a storyteller.
I am sure that you help people bring the peace of Desna upon them.
Well, I've been playing this temple for the last 10 years since the priest left.
Mm-hmm.
Been a good place to play. Good acoustics.
There seems to have been these 3 factions within town that have been causing this trouble for the last 12 months.
They have.
Are there? What could you tell me? What is it about these road keepers, Hornfangs, and Resplendent Order that they fight over? And is there a reason that they should not all be just simply removed from town, or?
Well, partly they don't advertise their members. So the Horned Fang, that what he's been able to find out is the sort of informal and rough around the edges labourers guild,
who apparently have been doing very little for the last 12 months or more, with the goblins having previously taken over that role.
The goblins were undercutting their labour. So, since the goblins have left, they have been. The Labourers Guild has been getting more work, which is probably why we haven't seen any real trouble from them.
So certainly that puts raises the value of the Hornfangs in Core Dark Eyes. So that they were against the goblins. That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. But I believe they were trying to recruit the goblins to their cause.
And have they been causing trouble for the townsfolk, aside from those that might have been considered themselves road keepers or resplendent order?
I believe that
town.
I believe that the street monsters come from them.
Ah.
Whatever secrets they have underground involves monsters that keep getting loose.
So yes, they are potentially a destructive influence, or maybe they're creating work for themselves. If they send monsters out to destroy parts of the town, then they can come out and offer to fix it for them at bargain basement rates, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Whereas the Order of Resplendent seems to be based out of Peacock Manor. And they're supposed to be scholars of Varisian history.
Sounds like a worthy addition for the town.
Yeah, but they don't talk to the town. And they haven't really come out to talk to anyone for a while.
So they reside within the town, but they're not actually part of the town. Is that the thought?
That's the gist of it. They don't seem to need to get money from us.
So, they say, hearing from others, they appear to be a discordant faction within the town. But if they don't engage at all, I'm not certain how they can really be disruptive.
Well, they were one of the factions that did open blade combat with the other two in the city centre. The other one being the Road Keepers, who are bandits in the Churlwood. And
I'm pretty sure all three of them tried to beat it on us when we turned up in town.
That is correct.
Well, for some reason they thought we were easy targets.
You were new blood into the area.
We initially beat back their small parties of people with ease, and may or may not have induced a fight or two as well.
So the road keepers are bandits that live out of town, is it?
They are. They're leaving the surrounding woodlands.
So if we were to try and remove the influence of one or more of these factions, then presumably the road wardens would be the ones to most readily bring to justice.
Well, the road keepers charge taxes for using the roads. So taking them out of the way means that they're more likely to get merchants up here again.
And yes, when you say they charge taxes, I'm assuming they're not government-sponsored taxes.
No, it's one of those rob from the rich, give to themselves sort of deal.
Indeed. That certainly seems the easiest place to start then, the most direct. And then, so these Hornfangs, if we can, if they can be encouraged to actually work for the town, and
well, they're currently unionised, and want to have a upgrade their wages from a copper a day to a gold a day, and have refused to work until that happens. So there's not been a lot of work around town being done.
How can they possibly think that anyone could afford a gold a day for a labourer?
I never said they were bright.
Okay. Well, anyway, I guess that if we can eliminate the influence of the Horn Fangs and the Road Keepers, then that should remove all the disruptive influences in town, because there's been an order we'll have no cause to draw steel upon anyone at that point. So.
And hopefully people will sleep peacefully for once, because no one's had a decent night's sleep in months.
So it's been a wonderful time to catch up. Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to vent.
Always welcome for that.
And as you said, that Cordo's also looking. So yeah, the Temple of Jason is actually an open air temple.
It is.
He'll also talk to the S04. If you don't mind, I may actually give up my room at the Riverside Inn and sleep here of an evening if I may, because it seems like the perfect place to try and keep the moonlight upon me.
Yes, you're always welcome. I spend my reverie in contemplation here.
Yeah. Okay, well, certainly Cordo will then heading back towards the Riverside Inn. If the others are still there, or if they've come back to there.
I had one thing I was going to do. But
Okay, what would you like to do, Mark, now that we're moving on to you?
Yep, that's right. I just wanted to go see the blacksmith and just have a chat with the blacksmith kind of thing. I noticed there's no dwarves in town, so I thought I'll just do a bit of walking around, see what's around town, and then come back kind of thing. So I'll have a talk to the blacksmith and just ask how work's been, how busy he's been or not busy, and just ask for just what's going on around here kind of thing. So.
Okay, so you catch up with the halfling running Perrick Smithy. He greets you warmly, saying, "Ho, lass, how are you doing?"
Oh, good, thank you. I believe you're the local blacksmith around here.
Not black, just call me a smith.
Okay, local smithy there. It's okay.
Yeah, I fix everything.
Oh, been busy around here with the Hellknights been around or not really?
I still have to make lots of latches, doorknobs, fixing hinges, probably making more kettles than usual. But
okay. Well, I said we just started visiting this town with a group of friends and just want to know how things are going around here. That's all. Seems to be very quiet at the moment.
I'd say the Hell Knights bring order, but they don't bring peace.
You wouldn't want to explain that a bit further? I'm a bit new to this place, so I know the Hell Knights have just arrived. I got told by the tavern people, but that's about it kind of thing.
So the order they bring is you mind your own business and you don't cross them, because if you cross them they kill you, and that can be quite noisy and messy.
I've had my own experience with Hell Knights, not a pleasant one. Yes, they are a bit robust sometimes, probably the best word for it.
He's not sure what's worse, actually getting their attention or not getting their attention.
Yeah, it's a bit both the other way. Sometimes it's good to know what they're doing, and sometimes you don't want to know what they're doing. So yes, I know what you're getting at, definitely. So, okay. Nothing else going on around here because we're just staying in the local tavern at the moment, just to all get our bearings kind of thing.
Well, from a dwarven perspective, not much has been happening here because we don't normally get dwarves here.
I know. That's what the
she was a bit surprised when I turned up, so I thought at least be another dwarf. There was one dwarf here, but it looks like I'm the only one in this whole place. Has there ever been any dwarves here at all? Or?
Oh, we've had dwarves, but most of the time they get kidnapped.
They get eaten, did you say?
Kidnapped.
Kidnapped? Oh, okay. Oh, I think I'm going to have to watch out for myself, sounds like it.
Try not to make too many lonely walks at night.
I don't try to, but thank you for the warning. So, thanks for being here. I better head back to see how the rest of my team go. Catch you later.
Peter, you're up.
It might seem a little bit weird, but Willie, even though he's like 7'2" tall, he's got a lot of mannerisms that are very dwarvish, and speaks Dwarven fluently. Just as an upside.
No, still not a true dwarf. We've got a buff dwarf, and then we've got a 7-foot dwarf. So it doesn't really. I feel there's a bit of mismatch going on at the moment. So no offense there, Peter.
That's right. That's okay. Although you will note that of the people that Willie talks to, other than sort of the old party, you're probably the one that he feels most comfortable talking to.
That'll make sense. So.
He even has a bit of a Dwarven accent in how he speaks. Not that most people pick that up.
So I'll just head back to the inn and have a drink there, man. So I'll just back to the rest of the party. So.
Okay, so everyone then meets back up at the inn, seeing the dwarf with another ale in her hand. At least you assume it's another ale, because otherwise it would have been there overnight.
Is there any music or singing in the scene at all, or just very quiet, just talking?
Very quiet, because you're the only customer there until everyone else comes back.
Okay.
Particularly at that time of the morning.
That's alright. I'm enjoying the kind of quietness for a little bit. I've been rushed around a bit recently, so I'm just going to sit in a corner, make a dark corner if I could, and just watch whatever crowd does come into the inn. So.
You sit in the darkest corner they have. Smells of mildew and damp earth.
Yeah. I'm used to this for most pubs, so yeah.
Okay, so when the rest of you come into the inn, Willie, Duzar and Parry recognise that the dwarf is sitting in the elf's usual spot.
As in Organi's
Yep.
usual spot. Yeah.
Which is why it smells of the grave.
Yeah.
Sorry, who do we recognise?
You recognise that Sparky, Mark's character, is sitting in the morose elf's usual spot.
Oh, why are you sitting there, Sparky?
Just wanted to sit somewhere different, and didn't, since no one else is around, I just thought I'd, and, okay, so I'm going, so I've been, how many hours have I been here by myself now?
Probably about maybe 10-20 minutes.
Okay, so maybe onto the second hour. Okay. Maybe.
I'll buy myself another whiskey and I'll walk across and sit down.
Okay, so the whiskey is making your eyes water as you go, but hey, it's still pleasant memories.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm after.
And the smell alone just makes you smile. Your face hurts at the smile because it doesn't really smile very often.
Hang on. Where's Quest when you need him? We need to draw this.
And you do find that Doozer and Parry have trouble recognizing you while you smile.
Except the fact I'm 7 foot tall. Anyway.
It's just an unusual thing on your face.
No, true.
It's like the equivalent of someone who never grows a beard to have a full beard.
Yes.
But hey, Willie being truly happy is a rare event in this storyline.
It is. Normally he's an arrogant a-hole. And unhappy and aggressive. And unhappy.
Really? What drugs are you on?
Good whiskey. Good whiskey.
Good whiskey.
Yeah. So, have you decided how you wish to proceed in this town? By the sound of it, the road keepers are the most obvious bandits that could be eliminated. Or possibly the Horn Fangs, although seemingly they are, from what I understand, labourers of the town, although they do appear to be asking extortionate rates. And are also apparently the source of the monsters, possibly, or at least the monsters coming from the same location where they are. But let's say, to me it seems simplest to, if we can remove the bandits from the equation very easily.
Yes, the bandits would seem to be the easier option.
I believe Willie is remembering the pummeling he got from the Hornfangs last time.
I understand that you've actually already found the bandits' camp. You've been there before?
Kind of.
They got notes on how they found a back door into it, but it may have failed.
And is there a reason that you did not eliminate them earlier?
I think it's I think it's safe to say that me and my group are very generous individuals who value life. Isn't that right, Parry?
What is life? All I know is frontline warfare.
Yes. Yes.
I am willing to sacrifice my life for my party, whether it might be stupid or not.
As I say, I value life, and yet you allowed this bunch of bandits to cause bloodshed in the middle of town and left them without justice being served.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, well, I'll just speak up for Corda, I think. All I know, Corda, they don't like dwarfs around here, and they keep kidnapping dwarfs, so maybe there's a dwarf thing going on, and I look both at Parry and Willie when I say that.
Well, yes, I understand that there are some of the dwarfs have been rescued, so I guess I understand that, yes. So, well, what can you tell us about this, the hideout of these bandits?
Who's been kidnapping these dwarves again?
The goblins had been.
The goblins.
But you guys already recovered them, didn't you?
2 out of 3. So
Did the third one die though?
yeah, it had died because it took you a while to rescue them.
Yes, yes. Sorry, yes, I remember that. Yes.
Because
But
they
nothing
were chained up to the wall, and the 2 that survived had access to water, and the third one died because it didn't.
That's correct.
Yeah. It was keeping life hospitals with their tongues. Yes, I remember.
Wouldn't surprise me if the filthy goblins were in league with these road keepers, bandits. So. Or is it they should be
The
eliminated?
problem we found with them that she was trapped in. There was like a portal,
There was.
and she was trapped in there.
And the portal was failing.
Yes. Didn't we break the portal?
You did.
Yeah. Oops. I mean, the magic was something.
As long as you left the goblin in there, that's fine.
No. The goblin came out, and I don't know. Actually, I don't remember what happened to her. But
You let the goblin escape.
They did. The goblin got out.
So, what do you know about these, where these bandits hide out?
They know it's in Aslanti ruins. Thassilonian ruins.
Do you know how to get there?
They remember how to get to one of the sets of ruins, but not sure if the portal's still active to get to the other.
Wasn't one on the other side of the forest? We had to go around the long way, though.
Wasn't it like the second or third turn that we had to go through? Because we went through the first one or second one, and then had to go through some teleporter or gate or something to get to
Yeah,
them.
no, but we broke the teleporter, that portal
Yes.
broke because the magic was so old.
Yes. So we need to go for the third turn, not the first one that we went before.
You need to find their actual encampment, not the teleporter.
Yeah, because when we left, after we'd gone through the teleporter, we worked out that I think it was the second or third turn that we should have taken, as opposed to the first. But if I had to guess, our best bet might be to find, and I've got the air quotes up, a bunch of them, convince them, again, air quotes, to show us where their camp is.
So you're suggesting that we deck ourselves out as apparent wealthy merchants that might be wandering through the Sherwood Forest, and I'm sure they'll find us. Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, I don't think we even need to do that. I think if we just walk through the forest...
I'm sure if we put Harry up front, it'll certainly look like they're got all the
Bling.
material they might be interested in.
Very true. Of course, I'm pretty sure that Doozer might be able to find them once we perhaps find some tracks, if we can't get lucky enough to have some suicidal ones try to take Parry alive. But either way, it shouldn't be particularly difficult.
Yeah. There's still plenty of daylight.
True. So shall we at least move off and attempt to make a first contact? Now, I just want to be clear. When we meet them, we're going to try to take some of them alive, yes?
Well, they can't tell us much about where their hideout is if they're dead.
Well,
Awesome.
I don't.
It's
I
good
don't
to know that we're all on the
I
same
actually
page.
haven't met any of them, so we don't know if they're hostile towards us.
You've met a
Okay.
few of them already.
And they're certainly hostile towards the town.
I thought so, yeah.
I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
You met a dwarf who helped you get into the vault.
I remember that bit.
Yes, you're,
My gauntlets come from there.
And you also met one of Saul's children in the forest.
Oh, yeah, that's like slowly looking chick. Isn't she part of that gang though?
She is part of the gang, but doesn't mean she's actually there as a that she's not there undercover.
Yeah, no, I remember.
But she gave you directions.
Yeah, because she said we were going right, and I think she was like, no, don't go right. You have to go left, and let him die, or something like that.
She sent you to where the goblin's house was, which got you in through the back door. But it did mean you did find your way in.
And also helped us avoid most of the rest of the people. I think I only came across a few.
Well, as I said, it doesn't matter how many we came across, because they caused bloodshed within the town. They're extorting fees from innocent travellers through the forest, which is also causing the town's trade to be destroyed, because no merchants will come. There's no reason that they should not be destroyed. They must be destroyed in their entirety, obviously, so if we do find a batch that decide to meet us, then yes, the requirement and intent will be that at least some of them remain alive, so that they can lead us back where they need to go.
Keeping in mind that one of the leader types that was there was a witch. I vaguely remember, or
you were warned
remember,
of that person by the dwarf.
As in, we shouldn't talk to her and or lie to her because she will know. So there's something to be aware of.
Or, sorry, well, if we come across her when we've already found their hideout, then she can be killed off of the rest. Is that correct?
Yes, very true.
And if she's not, if we find her before we find the hideout, then I'm sure there are some others amongst her party that are likely to know where the hideout is.
Yeah, very true. Like I said, it should not be too difficult to get somebody to convince somebody to show us where they are.
Indeed. So in that case, then yes. So Cordar is keen to move off. He will settle his one night's account with the innkeeper for the silver, and gather all his things if they're still up in his room, and be down again, ready to leave in minutes after the conversation breaks up at the table. Impatiently waiting for the others.
I'm still sitting at the table.
I'm finishing my beer while I wait for Willie to finish his whiskey.
Apparently whiskey's...
Eventually.
He savours the whiskey. It's got an amazing flavour as he sips it down.
I'm thoroughly reminiscing.
And before midday,
remember of my wedding night.
each time you have one of these whiskies, you remember everything of the night. Vivid memories.
Nice.
Well, only if your memories are nice.
I'm assuming I don't remember the little blonde girl who kept saying weird shit to me while last time I met her.
Well, here.
All I know her as is Blondie, because I met her at the fight, and Crow wished her away.
I remember her well now. The little girl. No, she wasn't one of the things you remember.
Thank God.
She wasn't part of that night.
Well, it certainly seemed like, even though she may not have been a part of it, she may have certainly been an observer of the night. She had quite a few leading, I guess, comments, statements to make about what was going on.
And you did have an audience for the most of the ceremony and after party.
Yes.
Okay, so catching up with everyone out in the town centre before noon.
Yep.
You're able to head upriver for 5 miles to the ferry. Where you meet Helen, the ferryman.
Oh yes, our good ferryman friend.
Yep, she does the flexes for Duza because, well, Duza did the flexes last time he was here, and she likes to show off her muscles, which are as impressive as his.
I will join in this flex off because it's Duza, and he likes to flex.
Okay, Duza gets to do a perform roll.
Perform? Oh god. Flex off. Oh, that is a good roll, considering I had like a performance of like 2, I think. I should be a bit more of that because I think it's level. I don't have any proficiency in it. Where's my character sheet?
I was going to say, you still got your Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Level.
There we are. I have a performance of +4. So it's 19 +4, which is 20. Is it 23?
It is 23.
Right? It is 23.
Okay, you do a outstanding muscle off with Helene, and she chuckles and pats you on the back, and you hear in the back of your mind, "Congratulations, challenge completed."
I shake Helene's hand and say, "Look forward to next time."
Does you need a ferry across the river again?
Yes, we do. This time we are not so broken as a party, and I throw my hand to the rest of the party.
So she says, my usual charge, 4 coppers per trip.
That sounds perfectly fine.
And it's not actually a per person, it's per trip.
Yeah. I will hand her a silver and thank her for the very epic muscle off that we just had.
And she comfortably pulls you across the river with quite muscly arms.
I look at my lesser compensated arms and I go, I feel rejected. Yeah. I'm just going, yeah, no, I can't keep up with that. No.
Well, she looks at you and says, when you get another 40 odd years on your body, maybe you'll grow some muscles too. She looks to be in her 70s.
Is she? Okay. I still look at my arms going, yeah, we'll see. I'll come back in 40 years, I say.
She laughs and says, in 40 years I'll be dead and buried.
Oh. Okay, I'll see if I can work on them then.
I'm pretty sure she's human.
She is.
She's human? Okay, I thought she was dwarf, sorry.
No, she's human.
Okay. Still on strength of 10, I'm not going to get even close to it, whatever you guys are doing.
Hey, look,
well, considering Juice is only like, what, 19 or something?
Mm-hmm. And she's about 70. So you're doing quite well.
But then again, I'm a half-orc, shiny half-orc, with like a strength of like +4, level 4, so...
And she skillfully gets you to the other bank, and after chatting about nothing in particular the entire way, quite skillfully, by the way.
Yeah.
She pulls the ferry up and wishes you safe travels, and hopefully you don't have too many more troubles in the forest like last time.
Yes. Hopefully we are a bit more prepared this time around.
Yeah, the story of the Will-O-Wisp was quite horrible.
Yes, that was not a fun day.
So as we're off the march and heading out and type stuff, Corda will ask the question. You talk about being more prepared than last time, and yet you haven't really described what happened last time. Where are we going? What are we coming up against?
So...
Did we need to buy supplies back in Roderic's Cove before we departed?
No, we just needed more manpower, really. It just...
I didn't say manpower, equipment.
Well, as in, like, physical bodies of people that could fight. So you, Bailiff, you know, Luna, I kind of, like, say Luna, sort of...
Ironically.
Yeah. You know, people with the skills and knowledge to, you know, combat these very mysterious times that we live in.
Such as?
Well, I mean, we told you about the room we got these gauntlets in. Was all we had anyway. Well, Duza, as we're walking down,
Into the forest.
Into the forest, we'll tell them how we went through the portal and had the help of this other. It was dwarf, wasn't he?
He was a dwarf.
Yeah. We opened a door that only opens once every, was it a year or 2 years?
They seem to have a long wait time.
Yeah, it has cooled down.
This appears to be hazards, or a specific hazard within the forest itself. Are there any things we should be aware of about the forest?
Well, the previous time when they travelled, they went to Ravenmoor, so you might want to tell them about that.
Yeah, I told them about Ravenmoor and the Will-O-Wisp that almost killed the party. Yeah, so don't follow any whispers that say, no, I will grant you your wish. Or anything stupid like that. Don't be dumb like Doozle.
That sounds like a poster.
Oh man, what's the insight check on in Pathfinder 2?
I mean, we still
diplomacy.
That would be perception.
Perception. Can I just do I'm just feeling Doozle's going around in a circle. We're not telling us everything, and that's why I just wanted to see if I can confirm it. So, well, I do have a lot of trust for Doozle. I just feel that she's not getting straight to the point. That's all. So, that's
I mean, come on.
29.
Doozle was fine.
Okay, so the first thing that Sparky notices is Doozle is indeed male. He's been getting...
okay, so Doozle, yeah, he. Sorry, apologies.
I'm sorry, I had to correct that when you asked the question. The next thing you do realise is...
Another half-orc that was female.
Yes, I certainly know the feeling, mate. Okay.
Mark, just as future reference, I pretty much only play male characters, so...
No, that's right, that's what I am. I remembered it at the start of the session, and then I just said it just by that.
Yeah. No, it's fine, it's hilarious, though. It's the walk of the party.
The GM just likes to fill in that insight to you as you made the roll.
Definitely a male. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Definitely a male.
Would you like Dweezer to wear his kimono? He is more than happy to wear his kimono.
Nope, that's okay.
His kimono does not go up at the front.
Nope, I'm okay.
You also notice that Doozle appears to be embarrassed about the events of last time Doozle travelled through the forest.
Okay. And I'll just, as much as I can try to pat Doozle's his shoulder, I'll go, It's okay. Just tell us what's going on. We'll make sure it gets sorted this time.
And you also see that Doozer flexes his hand while talking, as if there's pain in the wrist somewhere.
Isn't that earthworm thingy that got stuck in there, or is that?
It was around the time that you were traveling through the forest, the first time that you were nursing a broken arm.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, that's true as well.
And Kroll broke his leg, so he broke his first bone in that storyline.
Hence why Doozer made the comment to the bards lady about not having a broken party this time. It was kind of a play on words, and Martin got it.
The first time you've actually used the barge without having anyone with a broken body part.
Yes.
Okay. I think we'll be okay. I think I just try to beef up the kind of. We'll be fine. It's okay.
I am in no doubt that we will be fine. It's just we were not so much not prepared. We just didn't have the amount of support we needed last time we travelled through Roderic's Cove, trying to sort out this problem with the bandits and the resplendents and the Horn Fang guys. It didn't end well for anyone.
Yeah. It's okay, we're not dealing with all three right now. It's only me bandits in the forest, so.
Yes, but these forests are not fun, particularly at night. We do not want to be travelling at night.
Okay. Is there a reason these forests are worse than any other forest?
You tell them about the trail gaunt?
Yeah, I was just about to say, I'm pretty sure the trail ghouls are still a thing here. We did kill one, but we don't know if there's more. And we found it was members of the town guard, I think. We found dead in the forest off one of the poles.
It was. You brought them back to town to bury properly.
Killed by one of the bandits?
Killed by the undead. An undead that will not cross the path.
Yeah.
So you're safe on the path, but not safe off the path.
Yeah. So we're not sure if there's any more. We did kill that one, but we are not sure if there are others. So don't stray off the path. Stick to the path. Travel in the day. Don't listen to whispers and voices in the night, and we'll be all good, I think.
Talk about travelling during the day. How long do you expect to stay out here for?
Well,
how far is it before we're likely to come across these bandits?
Generally about 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, they're a ways away in this forest. It's not a small forest; it's huge. Hence why we kind of have to. Remember, Mom, we kind of have to skirt around a little bit and then hook back in. Is that right?
When you went to Ravenmoor, you skirted around it, which is where you dealt with the issues of the forest. Last time you probably went in underneath the D for Roderic's Cove.
Oh, right. Okay. Yep.
So you went down into it.
Yep.
But so when Doozer makes that comment about the idea of it'll be about probably at least 4 days, it's not a small forest. 4 days. Is this the sort of information that could have been brought up when we were sitting at the inn to ensure people understood what we're going into?
I did. You were listening.
It's certainly time outdoors is certainly not going to bother me too much, but I was looking up thinking, may not be able to get much moonlight coming through these trees.
And they get you to a clearing with a tree in the centre. plenty of open sky above you.
Marvellous.
Yes, this is a safe spot, I believe.
This is where you met the what was called the Vindictive Traveller or the Trail Gaunt.
Yeah, but that's why we killed it, and it also had. Oh well, I think the symbol of. Is it Desno?
Yes, but one of your party members took it.
Yeah, true. Well, I'm not sure how safe
Do you describe that occurrence and event to the others?
Well, I'll be explaining this as Druza remembers as we go through the forest, and like, oh yes, this is where we killed the trail ghoul, and this tree was the safe zone until a party member took the symbol of Desna that was in the. I pointed to the little nook that it was in. And they go, I'm not sure how safe it is anymore, so I don't know if we want to camp here for the night. You get your moon here.
Why would you take the symbol of the protector of travellers from a forest like this?
Ask the goblin who's not here.
Goblin, explains all.
That's right.
I still don't understand why you associated with it in the first place.
Well, you do remember seeing the goblin did end up with Desnian butterfly wings.
Okay.
It is very much an odd thing for a goblin to have. Not many humans get that blessing, let alone elves.
Okay. Well, if we all want to set up camp here tonight,
I was going to say, assuming it's taken us some hours to get to this location from the barge, well, from the town at midday, I guess we would camp here. Although, does this count as being off the path?
Well, it has a circular path, so you can either sleep on the path or inside the path.
Well, Corda will aim to sleep in a spot that has the maximum moonlight exposure, which I expect is probably going to be about halfway between the tree in the middle and the forest edge on the other side, like outside the path.
You also know where the moon's going to come up, so you can pick the one that's going to have the most, the area that's going to have the most moon coverage.
All good.
Morning comes with no events that night, and you awaken to the sound of a tune that Corda is familiar with. This is the same tune he heard in the Temple of Desna.
Played off the same instrument?
No, played off what appears to be a violin.
Okay. One thing Martin is saying, basically, before we actually camped down for the night, and each night for the last couple of nights, Corda has been doing some adjustments to his armour and things like that to actually try and make it a little bit better, since it's not quite the right shape for him anymore. And after a day of walking in the armour, he's thinking, yep, okay, I've got to adjust that bit and this bit. And
it's going to be a daily adjustment until either you become fully human or become fully half-elf.
Yeah, no, that's right. It's more for me, I'm going to be giving myself a slightly less penalty on my armour class and using weapons and things like that while I get myself sorted. But yes, okay, so we wait for the sound of Niezo's playing.
Yep.
And he'll look around for Niezo, but we'll see if he's actually there or if it's someone else.
And you see a raven-haired woman with a bright blue hat with red plumage coming off the top of it. Let's see.
Do any of us hear this and wake up?
You all hear that and wake up to it.
Oh, it's our friend who was...
Lullaby Van Kaskakin.
That's right. Lady Van Kaskakin.
Does Corda see family resemblance to others that, particularly one that might be about a head shorter than he used to be?
Looks more like the one from Magnamar that you recovered. Almost a twin tour.
The one that used to work with the Lady Thieves Guild, but
Yep.
when they started to get influenced by.
But also worked with the Pathfinders then as well.
Yeah.
She had infiltrated the Tower Girls as part of a Pathfinder group.
Yep.
And with her seeing you wake up, I might actually say that's a good point for us to stop for tonight because we are after 10 o'clock.
Yep.
And if it ends up being combat.
Yes, if she's going to lead the way straight back to the road keepers in combat, then yes. Or if she's going to be the result of combat, but hopefully not.
Yeah.
Well, I would hope that given that we have an in with the class begins. Oh god.
So it's VANCASKERKIN. So Van Kaskakin.
Van Kaskakin. Yes, well, I mean, given that we've one seen her before and two have an in with her dad,
And when the music stops, Doozy hears you have 312 days left to live.
fantastic.
All I need is a little kind of bell, and I go ding at the end.
No, she's got the got in her pocket.
Okay.
It's literally, you have X days left to live.
Yeah, it's my pocket god telling me that another day has passed.
Or more specifically, presumably, it's actually your pocket demon. I'm assuming it's actually the demon that's going to claim your soul, isn't it? Or represented thereof?
Entirely sure whether it is a avatar of Goron, or if it is indeed the Sandpoint Devil.
Either one works perfectly fine.
Either one works very well.
Yeah. But I can say, because your agreement, that means that you'll be effectively the Sandpoint Devil's plaything if you fail. Is that with the Sandpoint Devil or is that with Goron?
That's with Goron. Because, okay, so the story...
Oh yeah, because Goron wants you to actually defeat the Sandpoint Devil.
Yeah, so the Sandpoint Devil is actually my nemesis. The story behind that is, last time I was in my hometown, I went with a ritual with the Orcish Elder, and he appointed the Sandpoint Devil as my nemesis, or my favorite foe, and so I had to to come back home, I have to defeat the Sandpoint Devil.
Yeah, I remember now.
And then to top that off, not only that, I now have to do that by myself because I've pissed off Goron, because I've been saying Goron for the last year and a half.
The GM held that one until the character went and spoke to the god.
Okay. You really should have paid more attention back in Orcish Sunday School.
Well, it was half orc, and Martin pointed this out, so it kind of makes sense that I didn't get it quite right. I am technically half the age of the other orcs in my sort of gear group.
Yeah.
Because the orcs age faster, so they basically pushed the learning through, and it's like, but.
So I had to, and it kind of partially why Dweezer is like all born and not much smart.
Yep. All good. Okay, well, thank you very much all. Okay, Martin, unfortunately I won't be there Wednesday next week.
That's okay, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm sure they will cope with picking up and continuing the story.
I'm sure they'll be most disappointed to not have Dimitri's assistance and guidance.
Oh no, I've got some plans with my wife and Dimitri, but we'll work it out later. It's okay. Anyway,
okay.
Thank you, man. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks all. Yep. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks everyone for making it.
Catch you later, guys. Bye.
Good night.
Good night, Ariadna.
Good night.
Bye.
Didn't realise I realised I was here.
Well, they can see you on camera.
Can they?
Yes, they can.
Oh.
See the little one up there. I'm going to go to end credits now, so if you'd like to chat afterwards, that's also fine.